Here we go. We're starting with Quince today. And, my mint is in the other room, so I'm not going to run out and get it, but I pruned it. See, there's another Shakespeare plant or fruit. But anyway, I cut it back, and the spearmint is teeny tiny little leaves, and the peppermint is flourishing. So what do we crush and sniff today? Well, we'll crush and sniff some pine. Which again, when you breathe and you clear and you calm the body system, and you clear up the organs, and you just sort of, I always say, Shakespeare always says, it's all one. And by breathing, you kind of pull yourself back together. Pull yourself together. Maybe that's where that comes from. So breathing the pine. Oh, and the lavender is so pungent. Anyway, because we're going to be doing the quince today. And I don't know if you can see this. Oh, yeah, you can. Look, it's got this weird fuzzy stuff on the outside. Now, and the ones I brought from England were super rock hard. And when you cook them, the fascinating thing about them is they turn pink. They turn pink. The juice turns pink. And then when you make the jam is this lovely, clear pink color, almost like the medlar that we discussed the other week. Now, and it's delicious, and it's unusual. And they make a kind of a quince paste that people put with cheese, in very fancy cheese boards. And here we have a boiled quince. It doesn't look nice. And also, it boiled too easily, and it didn't really turn pink, and it wasn't that hard to cut. So my deduction from all this is American quince are different from British quince. And I'm not sure, and we really, really need a quince expert to, is there any quince experts out there? But we're going to bring Hannah on for the medicinal properties, since she's a medical herbalist. Notice I pronounce the H on that one. But anyway, we do this to anchor in wisdom and anchor in healing. So I was thinking, do I do the line of the week the quince line? There's one quince line, which is, they call for dates and quinces in the pastry. Now, some editions you'll see, it'll say they call for dates and quinces in the pantry. Does that make sense? Well, dates and quinces are both ingredients, so it makes sense that they're putting it in the pastry. It could be pantry because maybe that's where they have all the ingredients, and so they want all the ingredients together. But honestly, it makes more sense to say pastry, right? This is from Romeo and Juliet when they're preparing the wedding feast that she's not going to go to anyway. So then I thought, let's look up gratitude, because gratitude is basically what Thanksgiving is all about. And I think one of the reasons we're so fractious in America right now, and there is a book out called Shakespearean America, is that we've lost the core, speaking of fruit, of our founding, or what we said we were about. And so Thanksgiving, everybody was giving thanks, and now everybody's just fighting about everything all the time, it seems like, and forgetting to give gratitude for the abundance we have. And that's what the Thanksgiving holiday, for you Brits out there, has nothing to do with you. We're just like, hey, the corn grew. Look, there's food. Yay. And and we can eat it. And so, but interestingly with Shakespeare, he mentions gratitude 26 times, and 22 of those times are ingratitude. He's mad about people who are not grateful. Ingratitude. And so there are not that many actual gratitude lines, which I find so fascinating. Coriolanus says, whose gratitude towards her deserved children is enrolled in Jove's own book. Whose gratitude toward her deserved children is enrolled in Jove's own book. So that's Rome, so they still had the Roman gods and all that kind of stuff, Jove. So, okay, so that's a good one. Should that be the line of the week? And gratitude enrolled in Jove's own book. And then there's so many thanks. And there's actually, he mentions Thanksgiving twice. Measure for Measure, I think we posted this at one point. The Thanksgiving before meat. And meat meaning the meal. Saying Thanksgiving before the meat. So, I don't know. I don't know what the line of the week is. I think we're going to say gratitude towards her deserved children, people who deserve your gratitude, is enrolled in Jove's own book. Let's go with that. So anyway, we'll bring on Hannah after I've nattered on. Oh, I forgot to say, I'm wearing these kind of, what is it, scrimshaw? They're not real. Don't worry, it's not real ivory. Hi, Hannah. Oh, you look beautiful in the tincture cabinet. I was just explaining that my earrings have this little ship on the sea, like the Mayflower that was coming over to bring the pilgrims. So little random, I don't know. Okay, the quince. I think our quince is different than your quince because I smuggled, don't tell the TSA, I don't like the TSA. Anyway, I smuggled a bunch back from a friend of mine who has a huge tree in Oxford, and they were overwhelmed. They didn't know what to do with them. And I was like, I'll take them. And I'm piling them in my suitcase, but they didn't have a furry outside. And have you seen quinces with this furry outside? No, it's
being completely honest, I've never seen a quince in real life, full stop. So,
oh my God, Hannah, you're adding to the list because we have to candy the erringos that are in your neighborhood. We have to go foraging for hawthorn berries. And now I have to bring you speaking of which, the other thing that we're going to do is, this is a sweet potato, quite small one. And Shakespeare mentions them twice in Merry Wives of Windsor and Troilus and Cressida, where he talks about a potato finger, which this could kind of be a potato finger, fat finger. But anyway, they're supposed to be aphrodisiacs. And we have this amazing non-marshmallow dish for Thanksgiving called 6 Shakespeare sweet potato dish. It's delicious. It has figs. It has garlic. It's very sophisticated. No marshmallows on top, because they're not the marshmallow you talk about, Hannah. They're these spongy, sugary, synthetic-y things. But anyway, so we'll post our sweet potato recipe, which is delicious. And okay, so back to the weird quince and why our quinces are fuzzy and your quinces are not. Plus, it didn't turn pink. It did not turn pink in the boiling water.
Okay. Well, I mean, I since you started broadcasting, I've got one of my books off the shelf, and there is quince and there's flowering quince. And so-called flowering quince is also known as Chinese or Japanese quince, and that's completely different to quince. But they're both part of the rose family. I don't know, could that be the difference? I don't know.
Yeah, because we have the same problem with the medlar, which I did not bring. It's in the kitchen. I mean, I have it because my medlars are bleeding, and we're going to make medlar vodka. That's why I have some vodka. And that's going to be amazing. And we also learned from our Drew Bolender, our historical drink master, that to make saffron vodka. So we're going to make saffron vodka, and all this stuff makes fantastic holiday gifts. Quite frankly, it's personal. It's got a Shakespeare connection. It's got a natural plant connection, an herbal thing, and there's a healing element and also a festive element. Oh, I sound like Martha Stewart, except I don't have her hair. Anyway, so, and the other weird thing I wanted to show you, this, can you tell what this is? Oh, it looks kind of like, it's an apple. I have this very strange corner in my kitchen where I put fruit, and if I forget about it, it never rots. It shrinks. I have a shrunken pineapple. I have apples. I have shrunken lemons. I could start some sort of weird, I don't know what I would do with that. But anyway, that is an apple. I did buy fresh apples at the farmer's market, but you know what an apple looks like, so I didn't bring that. But anyway, so this quince paste is British, and I'm sure it's made from your quinces. We're going to try to make quince tart and a quince ice cream from these. But I don't think these are the quinces in Shakespeare. I don't know why we don't have those kind of quinces. These are very different. And it tastes kind of appley. It tastes a little bit like a, stewed apple. I have to say. So the Medlar also has a Japanese version, which is called Medlar, but it's not a true Medlar. So this kind of cross confusion keeps happening. Okay, so are there any health properties to a quince that we can also feel virtuous about?
Well, I have to be said, until you said we were going to do quince this week, I have never even so much looked at a quince in a book. So it's been a whole world of finding out things that I never knew about before. So it's rose family. So because it's rose family, you know, when you look at the petals of quince, it's got that lovely sort of 5-petaled arrangement which you get with everything in the rose family. And it's packed, the fruit itself is packed full of vitamin C, which you would kind of expect, really, I suppose, wouldn't you? But then it's the seeds historically that have had the most use, and it's not really something that we use now. Although it is listed in sort of modern herbal pharmacopoeias with all the chemical constituents, and the seeds contain about 20% mucilage and pectin. So mucilage, that thing we've sort of spoken about before, that has what's called a demulcent action on the body. So it's kind of soothing.
Okay.
And then also, because it's rose family, it has certain astringent properties too. So, as with everything to do with the bowel, it can be used in cases of diarrhea, it can be used in cases of constipation. And the way to extract it is to get your quince seeds and to either stand them in water overnight or to kind of boil them in about a pint of water for about 10 to 15 minutes. And then that will actually extract the mucilage, and then basically that mucilage will extract, and you can then use that internally. One thing I have found out since we've been talking is that, curiously, and I'll read this straight from the book, when preparing mucilage, when preparing mucilage from the seeds should not be crushed, because the enzyme emulsin will come into contact with the amygdalin, which is one of the main constituents in it, which will liberate hydrocyanic acid, which is toxic. So basically, don't crush your quince seeds and eat them.
Oh my God! Warning! Warning! Danger, Will Robinson. Okay, but what the great thing about that, since I have 8 of them and obviously a number of seeds, is that I can use all parts of the quince for good things. So this is the quince that Sumier drew. Look at those flowers. And there's the Romeo and Juliet line. But of course, the other famous quince is Peter Quince, who is in one of the mechanicals, the rude mechanicals in Midsummer Night's Dream. And he's kind of the director of the play that they do for the nobleman. And I just think it's so interesting that he's called Peter Quince, quite frankly. And why is he called Peter Quince? And I have a whole thing about plants that are people, because there's a number of those. There's one in Romeo and Juliet where they say Angelica, and scholars think, oh, is it an ingredient in something, or is it the first name of the nurse in Romeo and Juliet, or all of that kind of stuff, which is why we put Angelica in the book. And you love Angelica, and that was your herb of choice one show. But anyway, so there are the quince, and they do look, I mean, it doesn't look like this, which is the American fuzzy quince, but it kind of looks like this. Anyway, I think I'm going to have to go back to my friend in Oxford and steal some more off their tree and try to bring them back. Or we're trying to start more medlar orchards here. So anybody who wants to join in on the Year of the Medlar project, Jane Stewart, who has a medlar orchard, a heritage medlar orchard in Norfolk, we're working together. She can give you all kinds of advice on getting a medlar tree, but I'm starting to think we need quinces, or quince, in America, proper quince. But anyway, all of those health properties are fantastic. So, I have so many props here, I don't know where to stop. Anyway, so we have Thanksgiving here, but it's always a good time to be grateful no matter where you are. Gratitude towards her deserved children is enrolled in Jo's own book. I'm grateful for you, Hannah. Everybody have a great Thanksgiving wherever you are. Have a great week, Hannah, and all British people. And I'll be right back with the cards.